You doing there? Max says to the police from our helpers, Jack has a location on the base. Follow his Auditrix beacon and get to Undertown now. The plumber helpers have understood. He says, why is every time this guy gets into trouble, we have to help him? While that's happening, Jack is going to the Forever Knights, trying to figure out what they're trying to do. The Forever Knights leader says, I'm done. All these aliens, all these creatures. We need to get rid of them, all of them. Our scientist has finally made a machine that will affect everyone. Jack says everyone. I have a plan. Jack says, I can turn into Nanomech and get into the machine and mess with it. I just need to make sure to get everyone outside. Niji and Esther say we can do that. Jack turns into Nanomech and shrinks down to a little fly, goes into machine, starts messing with the wires. Jack thinks maybe gray matter should have been better for this, but Nanomech can fly. The Forever Knights say that something's wrong with the machine. Seems like we're going to have to fix it. Jack hears and says, my job is done for now. Flies back to Niji and Esther, turns back to normal. Esther and Niji say, why did you do that right in front of us? You just frightened us. Oh, sorry. That's what Jack says. Jack says I stall for some time. Now, what's the rest of the plan? My friend should be coming soon. Jack gets on his Omnitrix and turns on the communicator and says, guys, are you coming yet? We might have to engage the enemies pretty soon. And I thought one of you was very, very fast. Pierce says we're almost there. Manny says, who's the one that basically gave us a location and basically just ran off? Jack says, we don't have time to argue. Things are about to happen. I need you there right now. Pierce says I will turn into your Heat Bliss form and follow Jack's energy signal. Helen, go with him too, since your two are the most fastest. You can be there and back Jack up when he needs it. They get there pretty fast. The Forever Knights say, well, look at these two aliens. Helen says, we know what you've been doing. The Forever Knights leader says, you're outnumbered. Jack, Aster, and Niji come out and go to them, backing them up. Jack says, no, they're not. He turns into Echo, who's outnumbered. Helen runs around punching, kicking them, knocking them on the ground, and taking away their weapons. Esther uses her stretchy arms and punches multiple, actually growing her arms into a big punch and knocking all of them away. Niji is using her energy blast and blasting them all away. Jack is using his power vibrations. He says, everyone cover your ears. And he screams very loudly, thinking, blasting them all away. Helen is saying, why can't you start with that? Jack says sorry. Jack says to Manny, Helen, and Piers, you should probably tell Max by now. Jack says, Esther, we did it. Esther hugs Jack. He says, thank you. Thank you so much. Give him a kiss on the cheek. Jack says, what was that for? Esther says that was just a thank you. Max says, good job, Jack. Jack says, thank you, but without these guys, we were kind of outnumbered. Max says, you could have dealt with this yourself, to be totally honest. But it's good that you can call for help when you think you need it. Really, the one that really helped was Esther. We didn't even know. About this, Max says, thank you, Esther. Jack gives her a phone. Jack says to Esther, this is a phone that I made. It's basically how we communicate with other people. It's waterproof, shockproof, any type of proof. So when you really do need my help again, you can just call me. Esther says, so I'll be able to see you again? Jack says, sure you can. And I'm probably going to be busy some of the time. Jack says to Niji, let's go. I'm pretty tired. Okay. Jack gets back to the dorm room, and everybody starts asking, where have you been? Dekka was like, I went to I'll tell you later. I'm pretty tired here. Dekka says okay. But Kugo comes through. He says, you are a bunch of idiots. Especially you, Deku. Especially you, Jack. Jack says, I'm not in the mood. Okay, I'm pretty tired. So can you please just get out of my way? People has been saying your power is pretty great. So much it makes you make an ego. No, wonder Mr. A binge you. Jack goes to his honor trick system. The honor trick system says you have beaten 160 enemies. You get 170 honor trick points. So I can get an ultimate function or an honor tricks safeguard. I should probably get the safeguard first. The system says safeguard function inquired. Jack reads the description of the safeguard protocol. Basically, no mind control. Make sure the user is safe, and also make sure your aliens don't go out of control. I could have been used this. So that means no more going. That means if I ever unlock Ghost Freak, I don't have to worry about it losing control. That's pretty good. Jack walks to the dining room to get some breakfast from the dorm room. But then Deku comes, he says, "So are you going to tell me what happened yesterday? Why you were so tired yesterday and why you showed up pretty late to the dorm room, Gwen Eunice, Sarah Momo, and seal them what happened. I felt in the Undertown. They all were saying next time he decided to go on an adventure, invite me next time." Jack says what's going to go on now, well, it's going to be Young Festival. He said it's going to happen tomorrow. Oh, that's what Mr. So we have the day off. That's what Deku says at the end of this part. This is what if I was reincarnated in MHA with the Oni tricks from Ben 10. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. So Jack is in his dorm room, just thinking about what happened on the trip. Well, he gets a phone call. Jack looks at the phone ID, and it looks like Niji. Phone ID. Jack picks it up and says, "Are you okay? What's wrong?" Niji says, "I just want to call you to see if you are busy." Jack says, "I'm not busy." Now flashback before the trip. Niji actually gave Jack her phone number, so they could talk a little later. Back to current day. Jack gets ready to meet up with Niji, but first, he turns into Fast Track and runs to the destination. Jack transforms back and walks into the coffee shop and sees Niji. Niji says, "How have you been?" Jack says, "Pretty good." Niji says, "I just wanted to bring him out to talk." Jack says, "What did you want to talk about? How does it feel when you use your power?" Jack says it feels good, not that bad, but it depends on what transformation I use. Jack says, "What's so special about this coffee shop?" Niji says this coffee shop is not half bad, and he just wanted to share it with you. Nechi also says it's not just a normal coffee shop. It also cooks meals and has a menu, stuff like that. Niji says there's going to be a festival in a couple of days. You get to show off your powers and also battle other people and stuff. Class A, Class B, Little B will show them how powerful they are. Jack says a festival. Jack remembers inside his head this is when Todoroki fought. Deku, he also remembered the trial, how basically the UA teachers try to test the students. Before Jack and Niji get the chance to eat their food, alarms start going off. Niji and Jack start seeing explosions. Niji and Jack see Forever Nights. Jack says, "What?" He remembers inside his head. The Benton universe had Forever Nights. But what are they doing? Jack hacks Niji. Do you want to check it out? Jack also says we can always come back. I'll take a few minutes. She says, "You don't have your hero's license yet." "But don't you? You can just say that I was with you." Niji gets changed into his super suit, and Jack goes to settings on the Onitrix to put on his suit. Niji uses her powers to fly. Jack hits the bottom on the Onitrix and turns into Big Chill and follows Niji. Niji and Jack fall. The sound of a voice struggling. Jack and Niji finally get to the sound of the voice. Jack turns into Kicking Hawk. Jack says, "Don't touch the girl." One of the friends every night says another aim. Shaq gets ready in a fighting stance. Nechi says you all should run away now before this gets bad for you. One of the knights grabs a sword and tries, slashing at Jack, but Jack dodges out of the way, draws a kick. The knight falls on the ground. The other knight tries to go after Jack, but Niji blasts with one arm, and one of her energy beams. Another blast, but from the girl, one of her arms stretches into a punch. Jack sees the color and he thinks, "Is that Esther?" Jack said, "Doesn't she come in later?" This universe is mixed up. One of the knights gets away and tries to punch Jack, but Esther punches that knight. All the knights are knocked out. Jack says, "Are you okay?" Esther says, "Yes, I am. Thank you, Chicken Man. I'm not. I know I look like a chicken, but this is not my appearance." Jack turns back to normal. Esther says, "I like this form better." Jack says, "Who are you?" Esther introduces herself. Esther tells Jack and Niji. Those knights were attacking innocent people, and I was trying to help. Jack says, "Where do you come from, Esther?" Esther says, "I come from Undertown." Jack says, "Undertown? What's Undertown?" Esther says Undertown is a city underneath. Jack says, "Can you take us there?" Esther says yes. Esther introduces a hidden passage. "I can't believe a hole is underneath our feet." Jack says, "Believe it." Niji said, "How long have the Forever Knights been bothering people?" Esther says they've been bothering people and creatures for a while now. They don't like people that are different. Jack says, "What about the heroes? Did you get in contact with any of them?" Esther, "It's hard to get in contact with them." Jack says, "Where has it been starting?" Jack is saying, "I got friends that handle this type of thing. Maybe if you show us where it starts, then I could help you." Esther says, "You will help me?" Jack says, "Yes." Esther says, "I'll take you where it's been happening." Jack sees all the creatures in Cessna's cooler. Jack says, "I can't believe a whole species of a whole city. Right in his face. Right underneath our feet." Esther says the Forever Knights we have in the secret cavern. "Can you take us there?" That's what Jack says. Esther says yes. They see me or be in trouble. So Jack, Niji, and Esther goes to the Forever Knights hideout, our little gat line. Jack goes on his Omnitrix and contacts Max. Max, the Forever Knights are having a secret gathering. I'm going in there to find out what it is. I'll contact you later. Max is saying, "Wait, what are you doing there?" Max says to the police from our helpers, "Jack has a location on the base. Follow his Auditrix beacon and get to Undertown now." The Plum,